Hello everybody, it is everybody's favorite Goth BF back again, TenTillDeath, and today we're going to be talking about something a little bit more controversial, something a little bit more personal, something that's going to be quite uncomfortable to talk about. And whether you're a guy, whether you're a female, whether you're non-binary, whatever you identify as, I feel like many of you guys will be able to relate to this. And this was actually inspired slowly over the span of 1 year. Because this last year, I've been watching a ton of herbs and altars videos, and I know they've talked about it a lot. And there's been a lot of what, they've said that I've been able to relate to. And so today I want to talk about a very uncomfortable topic. Today I want to talk about eating disorders and body dysmorphia and tell you guys my personal story. Now, as you know, I'm over here speaking to you guys. If you guys want to, type your personal stories down below, in the comments, that's fine. I read every comment you guys send me, and I try to respond to anything and everything. There's a lot of good comments you guys have left, so let's begin. Now, a lot of people can end up having eating disorders for multiple reasons. And a lot of people can end up having body dysmorphia or anorexia for a multitude of reasons. Everybody, everybody's different, but everybody has a similar thing when it comes to one of those. And for me, it was like this. Growing up, of course I was bullied a lot for my weight. And I also had a lot of stretch marks. And that was, constantly growing up pointed out to me. And of course, between me and my siblings, we made jokes about it. But little did they know, or little did anybody know, all those jokes they made over the years actually affected me. It affected me to the point where, I was close to the edge of death, unfortunately. It affected me to the point where it affected my relationships with people, with family, with, romantic relationships. Affected, it got to the point where people thought I was doing drugs, and my job wanted to drug test me. It was that bad. And it even got to a point where I ended up passing out at work. So, anyways, growing up, like I said, a lot of bullying, a lot of focusing on my weight when it came to that bullying. And I have stretch marks. And, a sad part is, no matter how much dieting or exercise I did lose a lot of weight. I just could never get rid of the love handles. And so growing up, I was very insecure about all of that, just because it was pointed out to me, just because people liked playing with this little squish that I have down here. And now that I'm a lot more mature and grown and understand a lot more, it doesn't bother me as much, right? But enter high school. High school, I became very insecure about it. And during high school, I would skip out on my freshman lunches. I would skip out on, I think I skipped out on my... No, was it freshman? It was either my freshman lunches or my sophomore lunches. I believe it was my sophomore lunches, not my freshman. I would skip out on my sophomore lunches because, I was trying to lose weight because I was very insecure. And then especially when I was a junior, I over-exercised a lot to try to lose all of this down here. Thinking in my head, oh, when I lose all of this down here, when I lose a lot of weight, people are going to treat me better. People are going to like me better. My life will get significantly better. And now to lose weight does not mean that your life isn't going to get better. It might get better in some ways. You might have decreased blood pressure from losing weight. You might have an increase in energy, but just because you lose weight, all of those problems you're facing in here don't go away. And I learned that the hard way. So come the time that I become a senior and then start getting out of high school, I was very insecure of my weight. And so by the time, I was 17, 18, 19, I was lifting weights. I was taking small little walks, but I still couldn't lose weight. It even got to the point where, I would either stay up late working out, like way late past my bedtime late, or, skip important events just because I was insecure, just because, I wanted to lose the squish down here because I thought my life would significantly improve. I could not stop thinking about this all the time. It was the 24/7 thing. And now, this is where we get to the most important part, when I moved out of my mom. So, 2019. I move out of my mom's and I move back down here to my hometown. And I finally start beginning to lose weight. And this is where my body dysmorphia became the worst. Finally I start losing weights. I start losing weight. I start lifting heavier weights, of course. I start taking longer walks. I start going on jogs. I start doing weighted vest jogs, ankle weight jogs. And, slowly, actually, it wasn't even really slowly. It was just over the span of a few months, I was dropping weight like that. And now I could sort of tell, but at the same time, I couldn't tell in here because I believe, before I moved down here, I was still 260, 270, almost 300 pounds. So, you constantly see yourself in the mirror every day. So sometimes you forget, that change is going on with your body because you're so used to seeing yourself in the mirror all the time, right? And so I remember during that time, I would over-exercise, wake up early as heck before work out. It even got to the point where I was working out during lunch breaks, and then I was, working out after work. So imagine that, working out 3 different times a day. And I was doing it about 7 times a week. That's not healthy for your body. But my main focus was trying to get rid of this squish because I thought, if I'd done enough ab exercises, core exercises, started eating cleaner, I could get rid of this squish and my entire life would be better. I was over here building muscle. I thought I was. But really, at the same time, because I was hardly eating, and also because, I was eating less. Yeah, I was burning more calories than I was actually eating. I was losing weight like this. Coworkers were commenting on it. Coworkers were beginning to say that I looked sick. And I didn't really, think about it that much because, I'm so used to looking at myself in the mirror every day. And probably you too. You've lost a lot of weight or you gained a lot of weight, but you're so used to looking at yourself in the mirror every day where you don't realize it, right? And then fast forward to 2020. I was in a relationship with my then ex-fiance. And by this point, I didn't know how bad the eating disorder and the body dysmorphia got. Exercising 3 times a day. There was even times where I would stay up late at night, continuously exercising, and then go to work 4 hours later. Just to exercise during my lunch break, and then hardly even eat during work. Maybe 1 shrimp taco or 1 sandwich, but that was it. There's, and what I didn't realize is that I was slowly starving myself. And what made it worse is I started to look at food differently. I started to look at food to where, and this is really bad, when you start to look at food as it in fear. You don't look at food as a necessity or as a treat to yourself. You look at food as a fear. And why is that necessarily bad? Because, when you're already suffering body dysmorphia and you look at yourself in the mirror every day, and at this point, I went from 270 down to 180, 170, right? And I was like skin and bone. You could see my bone popping out, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it that I lost all that weight just because I was so used to looking at myself in the mirror. But I would look at myself in the mirror and I would still think I'm fat. I would still feel like people were judging me no matter what, right? And to me, at the time, I felt like no matter how much weight I lost, I still didn't feel fit enough. It didn't matter how much core exercises I was doing, I never felt fit enough. And a lot of people commented on it, but going back to the food thing, because, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself there. I began to look at food as a fear. I would look at food and I would get scared that if I ate this, I would start gaining weight. If I ate even 1 cookie, I'm going to gain pounds back. And that's really how it is for a lot of people with body dysmorphia and, eating disorders. And that's how it was for me. And so at some point when you lose a lot of weight, your body will get into survival mode and it will, try to not allow you to lose as much weight. So I'm over here, trying to lose even more weight, working out even harder, I'm over here, having low blood pressure. I'm passing out at work because at the time I worked at 2 jobs, but the work that I passed out at was Amazon and, it was crazy. It was crazy. Even when I was with my ex-fiance, I could never eat normally because I was so scared of gaining weight. And unfortunately, I projected a lot of my insecurities about my body onto my ex-fiance. So, you know, bless their soul. If they ever watch this video, I want you to know that I'm sorry. Truly bless your soul. I'm sorry for all that, but, you know, I can't take back the past. You know, we got to keep moving forward. I mean, that's the sad reality, but, you know, it was bad. It was bad. And at my other job, they wanted to drug test me because no one could believe that I had actually been losing all this weight. And there's still people to this day that, you know me, that still don't believe that I actually lost all that weight from, you know, having an eating disorder and body dysmorphia. They think it was because, you know, oh, you know, this man is clearly on drugs or something like that, right? And I was never on drugs like that. They didn't know that it was because of body dysmorphia. They didn't know I was going through an eating disorder. They didn't know what I knew. And most people are like, eat some food, but you can't. It's like I said. People are like, it should be easy for you to gain all that weight. Eventually it got to a point where I did realize, you know, and that's where we're going to get with this, with what I just said in the previous sentence. You know, it got to the point where eventually I did realize, because I had coworkers pointed out to me, where I did realize I was underweight, and I took a hard look in the mirror. Like, I could see my rib cage. I could see my bones popping out right up here. You know, it was crazy. I could see my back skeleton bones, dude, or whatever it's called, because I don't know what the back skeleton bones are called. We're just going to call it the back skeleton bones. And, you know, I'm not making a joke out of this, so anyone that's going through the same thing, just because I'm laughing, I'm not making a joke out of it. You know, sometimes I can look back at my own pain and, you know, just get a laugh out of it, because, you know, sometimes you gotta laugh through the pain. And so eventually I did start, you know, I'm like, oh, crap, now I see what they're saying, you know? But then that's where it got hard, trying to regain weight, because the body dysmorphia didn't go away. Every time I would eat to try to gain weight, I would still judge the food out of fear, thinking I'm going to get too fat again. And the thing is, I didn't want to gain weight and then get super big again, and people judge me, and I still had that thing. The thing was, I couldn't accept my body. The truth is, I wasn't scared of what other people thought. The truth is, I couldn't accept my own body. And I couldn't accept myself. And of course, you're going to get comments on your body, whether you're a guy, whether you're a female. Unfortunate reality. Does that justify those comments? No. It's just, you know, saying that, you know, people are going to come at you, criticize you either way. And so, the body dysmorphia doesn't end. I gain all that weight back. And then this time, I start becoming swole. I start becoming big and jacked. But even then, the body dysmorphia never ended. I was still judging if my muscles weren't big enough, if my core wasn't hard enough. I was still living insecure with my body. And so now it's like, okay, you know, well, you gained all the weight back. That's a good thing. But no, the body dysmorphia and the eating disorder never ended. Now it's with me weightlifting. Now I'm judging how big my muscles are. Now I'm judging if my core is even good enough. Now I'm looking at protein and thinking, you know, I'm scared of eating too much as a bodybuilder or as a weightlifter, because now I'm scared I might get too fat instead of building muscle. And so see, it never ended. It never ended. And then we flash, hold up, Okay. My freaking low power thing popped up on my phone. Then we flash forward a little bit. Let's flash forward a little bit, because that was all 2020. 2022, me and my ex-fiance split, right? And I start not eating because I was having depression, suicidal thoughts. So I don't eat again. And so then I start losing a lot of weight rapidly, and I become underweight once again. I'm drinking every day. The body, you know, the body dysmorphia, the insecurities, they never ended still. All these years later. And then we get to 2023. In 2023, you know, in the middle of alcohol addiction, dealing with all of this stuff that's going on in my head following the breakup of me and my ex-fiance, I decided to take a mental health journey and really find out about me. And, in 2022, I kind of had a feeling that, I might have had body dysmorphia or an eating disorder back in 2020, but I didn't think too much about it. But 2023, that mental health journey, that's where I started to find out, about those previous years, about that eating disorder I had years ago, about the body dysmorphia. And I still had the body dysmorphia up to that point. I was still struggling to accept my body. You look at your body, right? And you like every part of it, but there's a little bit of squish down here, and you never get rid of that squish. And it haunts you. It haunts how you eat. It haunts how long you work out. It just haunts you. And you work out so much, you just miss out on family events and stuff. Just because you don't want to gain weight. So, during that mental health journey, I found out a lot about myself. And I found out a lot about my previous eating disorder and body dysmorphia. And it was during that time where I finally came to slowly accept my body. Accepting, hey man, I'm going to gain weight. Hey, these stretch marks down here, they're never going to go away. These love handles of mine, they're not going away. They're not going away. Never. Ever. It didn't matter, how many crazy exercises and clean diets I did, they're never going away. And so, eventually I came to terms with my body, and I was like, I began to accept it. I began to accept, okay, I don't care if people think I'm a little chunky. I'm fine with that. I'm going to learn to love me for me, right? And the best part about this, get this. All those years where I was, exercising a lot, where I thought exercising and being fit and having all these muscles, would solve my problems. I realized in 2023, I only done all of that exercising. I only done all of that weightlifting because of body dysmorphia. And I didn't realize I had been doing that all these years since I was a teenager. I didn't realize it was because of body dysmorphia that, I had been exercising like that. And it's not to say exercising is bad. Hey man, exercise to help increase heart rate, exercise to, help build endurance, understandable, right? But I realized for myself that I never liked weightlifting. I thought I liked weightlifting all those years. I thought I liked exercising all those years. But it was because of my own insecurities with accepting my body as a guy. Now, trust me, it doesn't really look like I'm chonky or anything with how I'm dressed. But if I lift up this shirt, you're going to see, but I'm not going to do that for the camera because I don't want YouTube pulling a TOS on me. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But does that mean the body dysmorphia ever goes away? No. I still sort of got it, but I'm a lot more accepting of my body now than I've ever been before. And now these days, I just take very slow walks, and I don't do no crazy workouts or all that stuff anymore because I've learned to love my body. I have to learn to live with the body dysmorphia. I have to learn with the uncomfortabilities of, of every angle of my body. And I hope you can too. I hope you can too. But it's bad when you're missing out on family events because, you're working out all the time because you're scared of gaining weight. It's bad when you have a fear of eating. You can't even enjoy a simple blizzard from Dairy Queen once a week because you're scared you're going to gain that weight back. You refuse to try anything new when it comes to food like me because you're scared of gaining weight. And now these days, I'm a lot more open to trying new foods that I never tried before because I'm like, hey, man, of course, I try to eat, not too healthy these days, I just try to get my balance in these days, but I still want to try new things. Like the other day, I tried this new Yasso ice cream flavor. I thought that was pretty dope. And there's been a lot more. My dog's doing something in the other room. Levi, what are you doing? He's scaring me. So, that's a simplified version of my body dysmorphia and anorexic story. Or not anorexic, technically, whatever. Eating disorder story as a goth or a little older bat. I guess, I don't know. It's just weird talking about this in front of the camera. But I feel a little better actually talking about this. This makes me feel happy. So, let me hear your guys' stories. Let me hear your stories of eating disorders. Are you going through an eating disorder right now? Are you dealing with body dysmorphia right now? I want to hear all your stories. Just know you're never alone. Just know you're never alone. There's a lot of guys out there like me that are going through it, believe it or not. There's a lot of bodybuilders, believe it or not, that actually do have body dysmorphia. A lot of people just don't know. So that's my story. I want to hear yours. Peace.